Hey, what's up you guys? It's me, Naruto D, and I'm back today to make a video response to ForneverWorld's video on if there should actually be a third series to the entire Naruto series. So basically, you have Naruto, that's the first part, and you have Naruto Shippuden, that's the second part, and do you think there should be a third part to this entire series? He brought up this conversation about a week ago, and by the way, you can check the description down below for a link to his video. And when I first saw the video, I just thought about it for quite a while, and I went and make like a comment response, but it would just be like way too long, so I just wanted to like give my own thoughts on it. And well, here's what I really think. First, in order to please all of you wonderful Naruto fans out there, I would like to say that I would actually love for Masashi Kishimoto to make a third series. It would be pretty damn awesome. I would love to see Naruto all grown up and all of his adventures and stuff like that, and I'm not really sure what could go on, but I would love to see it if it actually did happen. And I'm sure most of you would actually love to see that too. But there is an actuality to all of this, and it really leads me to believe that there will not be a third series. Doing some half-assed research, I really did think, and I thought about if there should really be a third series. And those thoughts led me to think about why exactly was there a second part to the entire series? Why did Masashi Kishimoto make a second part to the series? Because if he had a reason to make a second part, he must have a reason to make the third part. There must be some sort of reason there. Okay, I hope you guys don't mind if I digress for a second and go to a different topic other than this. It's really related, but it's kind of different. Let's think about why Akira Toriyama made Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT. What was his reasoning for making Dragon Ball Z the second part to the entire series and making Dragon Ball GT the third part to the entire series? Now, from what I can remember from me being about 7 years old, which I remember almost nothing, I remember seeing the last episode of Dragon Ball, and they said that Goku's entire life and his experiences will be continued in Dragon Ball Z. So that was great. That was Akira Toriyama's whole, just a transition from Dragon Ball G to, Dragon Ball Z. He had a reason, apparently, and he basically put that in there. I mean, it wouldn't have been in there if it wasn't a reason for it to be lengthened, in order for Dragon Ball to be transitioned into Dragon Ball Z. So apparently Akira Toriyama had all these wonderful ideas that were supposed to be carried over from the Dragon Ball series and transitioning into the Dragon Ball Z series. And what that means is that at some point, the battles and the characters and everything are supposed to meld together within the two series. However, I then thought about Dragon Ball GT. Did Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT really have that whole melding together like Z and the regular series did? Well, obviously there was a whole melding of the series when Goku wanted to train Oob at the end of Dragon Ball Z, and in the beginning of Dragon Ball GT they were still in their whole training phase. However, was Dragon Ball GT really meant to be there in the first place? In my opinion, it seemed out of place. Where did these Black Star Dragon Balls come from? I've never heard of them before, and they just come up in Dragon Ball GT. It's just something that was never even mentioned once in any other series, and that was the beginning of this entire thing. Apparently, the Black Star Dragon Balls were on Korin's Tower, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, like at the top, at the lookout, Kami's lookout, right? But for some reason, that shit was never mentioned. Wait, so the Black Star Dragon Ball, why was that never mentioned? Ever. I don't get that. So right there, I can understand. If it wasn't mentioned, it wasn't really supposed to be there. So Dragon Ball GT, I guess, would be like an entire filler series to the entire Dragon Ball series. I mean, personally, I thought it was pretty good. A lot of people thought it was unnecessary, which it kind of really was. But it was just made because, mostly, I would think it was made because of the fans. Obviously, there are fans that want to see a third Naruto series, and Dragon Ball Z is the same way. They want to see a third Dragon Ball series, and so Dragon Ball GT thus was made. Now back to the topic at hand. I apologize, I do not currently follow the Naruto Shippuden story. I am not caught up with it. I do follow it, but I'm not caught up with it exactly. The entire manga, I'm not caught up with that. But I am hearing things about Madara and Kabuto being like the last two enemies, and the war is about to be over, things like that, and everything's starting to get tied up. Everything's starting to just people are just starting to have their happy endings, basically. Now, because of this, if everybody does have their little happy ending and little bits and pieces get tied up and loose ends are just tightened, well, is there a reason for a third series? Let's think about it like this. Could Naruto, the entire series, have ended with just the first part, and without there being Shippuden even made? No. That's impossible. Actually, if they ended it like that, it would probably be one of the worst endings to an anime. Because there are so many loose ends that need to be tied up, you know? At the end of a series, if there is still a conflict that needs to be resolved, then obviously another series would have to follow. So there, Naruto Shippuden was to follow the original series and keep it going on strong. And that tied up a lot of loose ends about what happened to Sasuke, what about all the Akatsuki members, what's going to happen, where are the Bijou, what about them? All these things were left unanswered, and then they got tightened up and loose. Well, all the loose ends got tightened up within the Shippuden series. Now, I don't know anything about what's going on in the manga, but what I've heard, it just seems as if everybody's stories are just having these happy endings, and things are starting to get settled. Conflicts are now starting to become settled. If there's no conflict at the near end of the series, then obviously we have something wrong here. We can't keep going on with the series if there's nothing to go off on. If we do continue with the series and there's absolutely nothing at the end of the series that just says, hey, this needs to happen, like, something needs to be explained in a different series. You can't just end it like this. Then obviously it's just story that's just made up, basically. So if you do want to see a newer Naruto series without there being any loose ends at the end of this one, it would kind of be like watching a filler. It would be a lot more interesting, but it would still just have lesser meaning. By what I've heard, the Fourth Great War is about to come to an end. All the enemies are about to be eradicated. So who is there to fight? Where is the conflict supposed to be now? Without a conflict, we cannot have another series. Now, I would love to see another series, but if there's not a main point, and if they do start to bring back things that should have just laid there and died in the series, like, I don't know, if they just brought people back to life in a new series and they have the same enemy to fight, but again, like, they're now stronger, wow, they were brought back to life. It's just, it seems kind of pointless. I mean, I would love to see Naruto growing up as the Hokage or whatever would happen in the next upcoming years. Maybe Masashi Kishimoto will make that an extra at the end of the series just to show you what happens in the next couple years. Like, Kakashi Gaiden was just an extra put into the manga. It was unexpected. It was just put in there. So maybe they will put something extra at the end to show you what happens years into the future. But who knows? There's just no conflict thus far. So that's really all I have to say in this video, and I'm pretty sure, I'm really sorry actually that it was so long, but for For now, this is me, Naruto Gandhi, saying stay gold. I'll see you guys later, and check out the video by ForneverWorld in the description down below. So I'll see you guys later.